You want to begin?
Yes.
So have you done your homework?
Yes.
Nice.
By the way, the entire day today, I was watching the last session. I missed it, and I have a headache in a good way. There's so much to learn from it. It was so finally, I think the last session for me, Vishwas, had bricks and mortars, and you know what I mean. That I'm trying to use a metaphor. It came in the physical form for me. So I regret that I missed it, but thank you for sharing the recording, and I bless this whole virtual format that we are able to do it. It's such a blessing. So thank you so much. I learned so much from the recording. Thank you.
So Madhu, you have questions?
Yeah, I have two questions. One is, I think, a bit straightforward. I think I think Monica was asking last week. There is a mention of fifth generation students, and it basically tells that how the metamorphic, like whatever activity we are doing through isomorphic frames, the understanding depends on the generation of students. So that I didn't understand. What do you mean by generation of students? Yeah.
Okay.
Should I?
So it's not generation of students.
Okay.
So I think what they did was trace generations of facilitation. So you've seen it. I think it's in the article. Is it in the article or is it somewhere else?
Even in the conclusion, it talks about it. In the conclusion also.
Right.
There it mentions student. Maybe I think here they are referring to facility. It felt as if they are referring to the participants in the conclusion.
No. Okay, so first generation was, let's take people into the mountains and let the mountains speak for themselves. So if people got something from it, great. If they didn't, that's fine. And if they were able to incorporate it in whatever they learned or experienced in the mountains from the powerful experience, that's first generation. Then they said, maybe we could do a little reflection. So second generation was, let us speak for the mountains. And that's when the facilitator comes in with the questions. Third generation was, so actually second generation was also the questions directed by and large in the context of what people were thinking or affecting the way people are thinking, affect the way people do things, so behavior. So your whole reflective process was in the context of, okay, so what does this mean to you and how are you going to apply it? Fourth generation was, let's front load the experience so that they already know what they need to be paying attention to. And then we can, so front loading was fourth generation. Fifth generation was, let's build a metaphor. And that's when the isomorphic frame piece began to come in. Yeah? I think there's an article, I'll put it up at some point so you get a sense of what that is.
Thank you.
Can you put it up here? I think it's, I downloaded it. Go to people. 8 people. Simon Priest. Go down, it's a PDF file. Just expand this so I can get sense of this. There's 20, 20, 20, and 20% something like that. Yeah, facilitation approaches.
I put it in the chat.
Yeah,
Oh, in Slack.
just 1 second. Yeah. Okay, we're putting it in the chat.
I put it in Slack, so it's
Yeah, yeah, putting it in Slack so you have it accessible.
So are we starting with the questions? I had a question.
So you can decide. So that was, does that answer your question, Madhu?
Yeah.
Right. Who's next? Yes, Ravi.
So I went through the session and I read the article and I tried to look for a couple of more connections on YouTube, just looking at metaphors and all of that. My question is, can you explain the difference, or maybe there is no difference, but can you explain metaphor and isomorphs using a metaphor to us? Can you make it easy for me? Because so why I'm asking this question is, when I look at the 7 steps to apply metaphors, so understanding the need, selecting that adventure, identifying what's going to be the resolution, what's the end, and all of that, I looked at it and I understood with this example also. However, this isomorphic connection, this word comes in between the metaphor. So I'm not able to distinguish, or help me understand, is there a distinction? Can you use a metaphor to help me understand what is happening? Metaphors and isomorphs.
Okay. A metaphor is something that's similar to. An isomorph, iso is same, morph is shape. Okay. So let me, have I told you that, guys, the story of that rappel, that the girl who stayed back, and then, we.
No, the executives who were went to an
Yes.
island.
Yes.
Oh no, not that one.
Yeah,
That,
that's the task, I think.
Okay, so I'll give you a simpler one, because I didn't explain anything in that last one. So let me. So I was doing a rappel session with a group, and there was this one girl who stayed 40 feet away from the edge. So I'm going to make an assumption that everybody knows what a rappel is. Okay. And for a long time, she stayed at a distance. And then I asked her, I said, would you like to do it? And she said, no way. Sometime later, I asked her again. She didn't respond. And she had this nervous smile on her face. And I said, well, let's do one thing. Why don't you just get harnessed? And you don't have to do it, but get harnessed. Over a period of time, she finally walked up to the edge. And she was shivering and she was sobbing and crying. And I said, hey, what's going on? And she said, I'm juggling with a lot of things. I said, okay, so what are you juggling with? And she told me, and this whole conversation on the edge, she's harnessed, I'm harnessed, we're on the edge. And she's sobbing and telling me her life story. It turns out she was dealing with a lot of things. She was a team lead for 40 people at the ripe age of 22. She was working hard. She had stopped her studies to do this job because it was paying a lot. She was dealing with her mother, who was telling her to give up the job and get back to college. She was dealing with a boyfriend. So she had a lot on her plate. And so after listening to her story, I said, well, do you want to get rid of all this? And she said, of course. What do you mean? So I said, okay, here's a bag. As you tell me your story again and tell me what that pain is that the experience is causing you. And I described each of these struggles that she was going through as monkeys sitting on her shoulder. Because each monkey was, talking to her. And I said, as you tell me the story, take that monkey and put it into this bag. And I gave her an empty bag. And she kept doing that. And she kind of looked at me quizzically and said, what? I mean, where's the monkey? There's no. I said, look, can't you hear it? And she's, yeah, all the time. I said, well, pick it up gently and put it into the bag. So she played with it. So each time she was saying something, she'd take that monkey and put it into the bag. At the end of it, I said, are all your monkeys in the bag? And she said, yes. And I said, how does it feel? It feels so light. I said, great. Do you want those monkeys? She said, no. I said, well, tie it up. And I said, hold the bag. Can you feel how heavy it is? And she's still looking at me. It was an empty bag. Remember, so physically it was empty, but metaphorically it was full. And I said, now drop it over the edge. And she dropped it over the edge. And I said, can you hear it? Did you hear the thud? Have you let it go? And she said, yeah, it feels so good. I said, are you ready to go down now? And she went down. So what I did at that point in time was metaphorize it, helped her metaphorize it. Even to the extent, you can go to the extent of saying, what does that monkey look like? What's the expression on its face? So you build a similarity between the experience that you're having and the thing. Right? And she had let it go. And years later, she sent me a mail and she said, hey, I need you to walk me on another rappel again. Now, this is her talking, right? And I said, what's this new rappel? And she said, I'm getting married. And I'm feeling the same things again. Now, it was interesting and must have been a powerful experience for her because she was able to talk back to me in metaphor. Right? Okay. Now, an isomorph is also a metaphor. But you want to build as close resemblance as possible so it's the same shape. Example. What would be an example of an isomorph? Many of you have possibly done this exercise where you have you ask people to go from point A to point B blindfolded, and you have obstacles on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so there's a particular, when this exercise was being done with a bunch of people, I think it was an accounts department or something. And each obstacle was given a name. So it could be computer breakdowns and how it affects movement. And when you build something that's similar to something as close as possible, the behaviors that are encountered are similar to the behaviors they encounter in the workplace. Make sense? So you are supposed to, now you're supposed to tell me what the isomorph was in The island story. And what do you think the objective was? What was that one what was that one thing that they wanted people to understand? Are we on different lines?
So,
Can
Now-
I start?
Yeah.
So I might not be anywhere closer to the actual answer, but here is an attempt. So it became clearer to me when I read the article that the story is quite similar to the rope story. If everybody has read the article, I felt that the rope isomorph, the metaphoric adventure that the facilitator chose for de-addiction, felt like it's the same kind of an experience. So the facilitator was appointed, and these 9 executives were sent and put through this experience because the facilitator or the educator wanted them to feel some emotions. Not that he intentionally wanted them to go through that, but sometimes what I understood by reading the article was he tried to reverse the situation. He put them through that challenge and see how they will behave, because in the reality also this was happening. These 9 centers weren't performing, and there were, since Vishwas did not share the conversation that that happened between the facilitator, the need analysis conversation was missing. I'm assuming that there were a couple of needs that were ranked, and those needs were: one, the ability to ask for help from one another, working together as one unit. That was missing. So there was a strong metaphoric relationship that was established by abandoning them to this place, at the same time giving them hope that after 7 days you will have that plane, you have to go to that 230 degrees and you'll find that
Right.
plane. But then,
So
yeah,
what I'm
that is
hearing,
what I've understood.
got it. So what I'm hearing you say is the two things are one is asking for help, and the second one was what?
So asking for help from one another, and also so I said only one. Are you asking for help from one another? And the second one that I assumed was that they have to understand that their units are not functioning, and the facilitator wanted to bring out the dysfunctions in their behavior. So there are 2 ways that we can look at it. One, the positive resolution, that was the end goal that was in mind. If not achieved, at least from this, putting them through this challenge, maybe the facilitator wanted to bring to the surface the dysfunctions in their behavior. Maybe they are and whatsoever. I'm just assuming because I felt that need analysis conversation was missing.
Okay. By the way, is my natural face distracting? It is?
I'm trying not to laugh while talk.
Right now, because it's the isomorph.
How do you remove it?
No, it's not an isomorph, I feel. It's not closer to reality.
So,
Okay.
Ram and we were having a conversation, and what we came up with on this was that that assuming that these people already had potential because somebody was taking this much effort. So I'm assuming that they already had something and they just wanted to jog them up, or like build their capacity, or like just put them in a very uncomfortable environment. That's it.
That's it?
Like, of course, that
Can you imagine what the budget? So many of you went on that track. Many of you went on that track, okay? And just think about whether anybody would spend that kind of money to just make them uncomfortable.
No.
well, that's what we thought, that they must have something because they already
So
had
what-
potential. Because for somebody to make this plan was
What is that something? That's what I'm asking you.
Understand the human needs and emotions.
Uh, remember, these are business people, man.
It was
What,
a do and die for them. If they
Yeah,
don't
because
figure out how
what
to
was so
reach,
important? Good, good. What was so important that they had to put them in that discomfort, the abandonment that Sylvie talked about? What was must have been really critical for them to get one?
I feel
Usually,
Vishwas, they were more into problem rather than working together. They were more focused on the outcome rather than the process of the outcome. Hello?
I think Vishwas, if I would say maybe I thought about what you had wrote back to me, and it could be the overall. Of course, it's like it seems to be a very big company, a big. So it could be the financial impact, which was bothering them, and somehow no, it's not.
what is
Of course, it
that
is
one
about money.
thing, Preeti? What
Yeah.
is that one thing that they wanted? What message?
What if
What did they
they just
want that
The
they want
message was that even that either I think I don't know, something to do with finance, but I don't know how this so this whole metaphor of marooning in an island and then kind of releasing them kind of I don't know, it's kind of a little in that article that of de-addiction and that rope and stuff, it's more clear, but here it's not coming out very clearly, at least for me.
Okay,
So,
Ram.
Vishwas, so
Vishwas?
yeah, from what conversation Hitesh and I had, one, it looks like the objective may be collaboration, and two, it kind of feels like, as she said about the potential factor, like those candidates already had potential, but they were put through the stress or put through this whole scenario for a reason, which probably maybe like they want to upscale the entire organization and want people who are overtly motivated, like how we say for sales guys, like they want to motivate those guys to push their limits and go past their own personal limits. So that must be one wherein they want people who are highly dynamic and challenging
Which one
themselves
would
and
you
at the
choose?
sorry,
Which one would you choose?
I would choose they wanted people who are basically, when we talk about like upper management, risk takers, who are more people who take more initiative and risk takers and want to be overtly motivated, and that sort of thing is probably the organization was looking for in case of like building a big conglomerate empire or something like
Got it,
that.
got it, got it. Anybody else?
Yeah, Vishwas, me.
Vishwas?
I was disconnected last time. So for me, it's same like the raft building we do with our kids. We give them a problem, and kids just jump into that without coming to an outcome. There is
You see, they're spending so much money. Do you think they would do that just for team building? A lot of you gave me the generic stuff, okay? And and all that will happen. But could that have been their prime reason to do something? And let me just say that I have heard the answer in some of your notes, in some of your journals, and I've heard it today. So the answer exists. It's that, so an isomorphic frame approach is used when you want to be really sharp with the message you want to send across.
so yeah, they are more focused on the outcome, not
Now, what is
finding
it?
the correct
So
solution of the outcome.
you're saying that they wanted these guys to be focused on process?
No,
Vishwas?
focus together, not just the
Oh,
outcome.
collaborate. So your thing is get them to work together.
Knowing them better. If I take
Knowing
time
for
in,
what purpose?
sorry,
To what purpose? Know each other to what end?
so that I know your strengths. So when I make
So
a
what?
plan,
So what?
sorry.
So what?
So it's more the word is so if I know your strength and weaknesses, my plan will be more concrete, and I will know how to use where. It will be cost effective as well.
Okay.
Vishwas, can I
I hear
just
you.
again put in
Rekha.
just something
Give me
just
one
struck
second.
me.
I think Rekha wanted to say something.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah.
This is a thought that the island is a metaphor for each of them are working. Each of them are head of each country, kind of a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are not working together. Their island is a metaphor for they are in their own space.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Keep going.
So working together as a bigger family.
Don't lose it. Don't lose
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, don't make it. Very often, a lot of our work resolves around this whole collaboration, blah, 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 niceness thing, right? There was no niceness in this. It was sharp. It was sharp as hell. Okay, Preeti, you're getting nervous there.
No, but yeah, because I feel that it should not go away, slip by. So,
Sharp
what
and
I
short.
felt is that,
Or you don't
what I
know.
felt is that they marooned in an island and kind of without anything. I think they didn't have anything much of their own, right? They, so it's like how a company, anything starts from scratch.
Why,
And
why were they there, Preeti? Just give me that.
to crack it, that what it takes to start anything from scratch,
What
what
does
it
it
takes,
take?
what is this effort, and maybe
What does
these
it take? Preeti,
it,
Preeti, Preeti,
it,
hold on,
it,
you're wandering. What does it take? You're doing fine so far. Don't wander.
it takes
What does it take?
this heavy amount of risk, and it takes a heavy amount of visualization, vision,
If you maroon there, you were one of them.
I like the special effects just happened.
It's like it kind of shakes you up, and it takes out this whole creative genius out of you. And how do you make something, how do you build something? So just to it could be that, I mean, I'm just
Okay, I won't say no. Just remember that any activity has the ability to teach multiple things. If we are going to design experiences for people, we've got to know what it is that we are gunning for. Because your facilitation, the questions you ask, the places you take your conversation to are dependent on that.
correct.
Yeah? So this is, I mean, isomorphic frames, 5th generation is not easy. I mean, I stopped teaching it. I made the mistake of talking about it at some point in time. It's got a nice ring to it. And these deepers have been eating my head ever since. And I don't know if I figured it. I've done stuff like that. And I've played around with isomorphic frames, and they've been extremely powerful for the audiences. But I still don't know whether I've cracked it. Okay? So you got to know a hell of a lot about the people and the situation. And then when you create something, everything that they experience there's a similarity. Okay, so Kadambari, you got a lovely forehead. Thank you. So, do you want the answer or what?
Yes.
Okay, Monica, I'd like you to share with the group what you wrote.
What I wrote for my journal.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was a little bit brainstorming yesterday with myself, and first I put it everything apart, means I listened exactly what Vishwa's story was, and I wrote down the facts, which are, I think, yeah.
At some point in time, if you're okay with it, I'd like you to share that with the group, because I think the way you went around it was brilliant. It was just the way you stated what you heard and the information that you had and putting it out there so clearly that what you deducted was much closer. In fact, you had it. And I don't know whether you know you got it. But please share, if you're okay with that, share it with the group, because very often, you see, a lot of what we've heard so far is you trying to make meaning, right? And the moment you start making meaning, you've lost the data as it was shared. And I think the result of it is clear, because many of us wandered off into sometimes 12 different potential objectives. But an isomorphic frame is looking at a very, very focused outcome. The way Simon puts it, ideally not more than one, but if you want to have two, you can, but not more than two potential objectives. So do you want the answer? Yeah?
Can we
Okay.
try? Can we try once again?
Yeah, as long as you don't give me that generic stuff and you have an argument for why you are choosing a particular thing. It has to come from the data.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, more time, next time, the answer.
Next time? No,
Yeah.
you don't have time. Next time you're going to create an isomorphic experience. Okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to try and do everything possible today for us to be able to do something, or at least risk it. Okay. So Monica said something very interesting, and it didn't occur to me till I read it. Can you talk about that cloak themselves, and what was that? The toga? What is it?
So Roman togas, wrapping them out of privilege of being executive and showing all are on the same level.
You see, that's the isomorph. Okay. And now you can build a lot more. And Rekha, your island. That yeah, we're on an island, but bottom line, what is it really going to take for them to get off that island? What is that one thing? Risk it. One thing.
Working together with whatever you have.
Working together, team building, blah, blah, blah. No, man. Come on.
Taking out the ego, like when
Ego.
we
Yeah.
all are level, we are at the same level. So to come at the
Okay,
same
now
level.
we are not at the same level. So we could very easily sit back and bitch all night for 7 days, right?
No, for the
What
same.
is that's not going to get across to the other
Figure
island.
out a plan. Figure out a plan to reach.
Come on. And why would anybody want to have a plan?
Otherwise, they
Okay,
will
I'm going to
die.
facilitate.
They will be left in the island.
So
We want to be alive.
Admitting.
so what do they
That's
do?
the only way to be
Without-
alive if they take the plane.
If they have a
So
plan,
what
they
about
will
if
cross.
some
That
level of
is the only way.
competition between them?
Sorry?
Some level of competition between them? Who is going to create idea?
Okay, so now you have an idea and you have a competition and you have a fight. Now what? What's that one thing?
Survival
Initiative.
instincts.
What
Taking
is that?
initiative.
So sorry, who was that?
Taking initiative.
That is it. That was the message. If you don't show initiative to save yourself, how are you ever going to save the organization and your position in your island? And just remember, all the other reasons you gave me that didn't include initiative can all happen. They can plan, but not execute. What is it that pushes that plan into, or that thinking to action piece? Initiative. Them being able to say, this is what needs to be done, and then executing it. And that's what they wanted each office to do. There was no collaboration necessary in that whole thing. Their offices didn't need collaboration. They could be collaborative if they wanted to. And maybe it was necessary to build that boat or raft or whatever. But that was secondary. Everything else is secondary. Can you find the energy against all odds after you've been destroyed in some sense and been abandoned? Can you rise to the occasion? Yes, Kandu.
So, Vishwas, how different is intent to initiative? Or is it same or not?
I can have intent. I can have intent. Sorry, I'm laughing because we had this conversation
Oh, sorry,
today.
did I miss?
Of course you missed it.
Yeah, I know, 25 minutes, yeah.
This is our class.
Yeah, because when you say initiative, it would not, I mean, it wouldn't come if you don't have intent. So intention again for
But you can
me
have
would be a
intent
huge.
and no action.
No, I feel if there is intention, it would go and inculcate into
I
action.
want to feed all the people on this planet who are poor and hungry. Great intent. Do I feed my neighbor's kid who's hungry? Probably not.
You don't like the neighbor maybe.
You see the difference? And there's people who have nothing but give away more than they ever earn, and for some reason stuff keeps coming to them. They don't talk about intent and they just do.
I don't know, somehow I'll take time because I'm still not able to segregate that.
Right. So initiative needs intent, but intent may not have initiative. I know I'm intentional about a lot of things. I can't seem to move in some. I'm like lethargic. I'm almost, like I feel like my feet are in cement. I have great intention about doing certain things. But I'm just not able to move from that place. Many times.
And how do we?
Okay.
So,
Any other questions?
I have one question, and it's kind of linked to what we just discussed.
Yeah.
So, like when I read this article, it basically said that when you're doing you're using an isomorphic frame for a transfer to happen, it is very important to make the frame very real. Make them understand how it relates to the real life.
Their contextual, yeah.
Their context.
Yeah.
Like somehow I feel it can be negative. For example, in this example that we just discussed of these executives sent on an island, if for them the frame was explained, it would not have had the effect. So I think maybe I feel if the context, if it is not explained, it will have better result. That's what I am feeling. I'm not sure.
So there are contexts in which you want to explain. You got to remember this was a corporate. If you're doing therapeutic work, if you shock people into something like that, it can have adverse effects, right? Acceptance, choice are critical pieces in the therapeutic world. So all the examples that Mike Gass gives in that article are informed choice, right? Even on that, I think there was that ropes course scenario where they say, okay, when you go to the hardest part, we're going to ask you to come down, right? And they set them up for that to happen because it's constantly happening in their lives. That when they're doing something, everybody is telling them, don't do it, right? Now, when you build that isomorph on a ropes course and you do the same thing, what is it that they choose to do? That becomes critical because that's new brain wiring. Get that? Right. Anything else?
Vishwas, when we talk about informed choice in a therapeutic setup, so there then taking initiative can be different. Like then if it is challenged by choice, and it so my taking initiative.
Yeah, he has something to say too.
Yeah, so I always get confused when we talk about therapeutic setting, when we give challenge by choice. Then the thing of taking initiative is a little dubious to me. I I don't know. I get stuck here. So had those people told that this is their thing, this thing is done for that those, so that they take initiative. Those people, those 9 executives, they might have not done it.
Therefore, it's lost anyway. Remember, this was not a therapeutic setting. This was a redirectional setting where they were addressing dysfunction.
So it's okay to ignore consent for a little bit in these settings.
Well, what was the choice?
There's literally no choice in there, and I was okay with it.
They had a choice. What was the choice?
They had a choice to get on the plane or not.
They
And
could
if they
stay.
did, then
But once they are there, so
wait. If they can choose to get on the plane or not. What if they didn't get on? What was that equivalent to?
They would rescue them.
they
They will be left out, they may die.
No. Oh, you're talking about the plane in the end or plane in the beginning?
the plane in the beginning, then they would
Yeah,
have
that's what I thought.
they would have lost their job. Maybe I don't know. Like you said,
That's it.
well, that's bullying.
Hello? This is an organization. These guys are sitting with their laurels. They're not doing new business. The company is not growing. I am the boss.
Maybe they okay.
What's the choice?
So it's okay, right? Like to I feel like sometimes like isomorphic frames, they can be a little brutal to digest.
Hey, no, please don't go by that. I mean, there are gentle, when you use it in therapy, they're very gentle, they're extremely gentle. I mean, you guys want to have a chat about what this whole informed choice means, maybe you should connect with Tanya.
To us, like this is something we Hiteshi and I were discussing.
Move on at some point in time. So yeah, go ahead, Ram.
Yeah, so this is something we Hiteshi and I were discussing yesterday, and it took like I think half an hour, 45 minutes of our conversation, just understanding, like the consent part of it and challenge by choice and so on. But I have just one question to ask: do you think the same scenario can be run today? Because this was run 20 years back, and that time the days were different, where people would listen to their boss and do whatever. But in today's time, it's a bit different. in that sense? Would this be
How is it
applicable?
different?
Sorry?
How is it different?
You have more employee security laws as such in place?
Who told you this?
No.
I don't know about India, but I know
The
about some other
organizations
places.
also no. Organizations protect themselves as well.
Yes, they of course they do, but then
That's
at some
it.
point,
Now,
if I go and
if you are a country head and not doing your job, at some point in time, I'm going to get to you, you know, if I'm your boss. Here
true,
was a golden opportunity. You either have it or you don't.
Well, we were both working in a situation where if you had a breakup, you had an option to not go on a very important program. So people were so entitled. So it's just so hard to believe that other than Indians, there would be anybody literally afraid of losing their job in this at this point of time.
Oh well, welcome to the real world.
That's fair. Then I get it.
Okay,
Vishwas, I have one more question if we're taking it, if we have the time for it.
I will risk it, but that's the last one.
Okay. So you shared a book, Metaphors to Live By. If I'm correct, I couldn't. It's not available on Amazon. So my question is this: organically, how do you have an organic process to choose metaphors for your learning sessions? How do you go about choosing metaphors? Do you have an organic process around it?
It's organic, therefore cannot be described.
But there must be something that you could describe of it, and I'll just pick it up from there.
Okay, so one is it has to be relevant to the group.
Right.
It has to be relevant to their life, their, I mean, what is it that you real? So there's a, right. Why don't we just do that today as I'm going to cover some of those things.
Sure, sure.
Okay?
All right.
Great. So if any of you want to know more about the therapeutic approach and metaphors, please, Tanya, can you just wave your hand so they know who you are? Yeah, please do get in touch with us. Great. So, you know that the first image is always one that is trying to metaphorize. Yeah? Okay. What do you think is going on there? In the image. What's that a metaphor for?
reassessing the raft, reassessing the situation.
Okay. What else?
Getting ready to get into the waters.
Hello. Do you remember where you were in the previous
Acha,
one?
okay. Linking to the. Oh, okay.
Checking out, re-engineering.
Why?
To have a smoother ride.
Why? You were in the rapids last time, weren't you? What happened?
So obviously there were ups, downs. Some fell, some were out. So initiative is to have everybody on the raft and still move ahead safely.
Repair work.
Well, after the rapids, bolts usually come loose.
Now,
you have to again get.
hold on. Okay, so which nuts and bolts were loose in the last section?
Metaphors, understanding of metaphors.
Huh? What did we agree?
Our approach towards this whole sessions and workshop, basically.
Right, and what was it?
To collaborate, talk to each other, and discuss.
Taking responsibility.
Right. Okay, so this raft that we were on, the course raft, needed a little repair. And that repair included talking about, okay, look, why are we here? Are we just waiting for this guy to come and do his thing? Or are we going to take any responsibility? And metaphorically, I kind of pulled you off back to, the bank and said, hey, you know what? Maybe this raft needs repair. And you said you would read, and it sounds like a lot of you did actually manage doing that. So thank you very much. This is rain? Any of you? You transferred it into action, right? You made your notes, you read that
Yes.
article, you had questions, and we
Yes.
spent almost an hour just talking about that article. Would you call that transfer? Yeah.
Yeah.
You said you would, and you did. And now you have an experience of what being able to transfer what you said you would do. Now, what are you going to do? I'm going to go read, I'm going to study the article, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to do my homework and I'm going to attend class with questions. Classic example, and I don't know, did all of you do it? I don't know. Some of us did and some of us didn't. And those of you who didn't, you did not create an opportunity for transfer. Yeah? Simple short bridge between the banks. And yet there can be so much struggle. Just a simple act of reading 5 pages and committing to it. And the only thing, what got you to that place, those of you who chose to do it?
Inquisitiveness and initiative. Inquisitiveness and initiative.
Commitment.
Was there a
I
punishment?
think reminding of my why, you spoke about it, my original strong why.
Why am I attending this course?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Taking
And you move
responsibility.
from that
Oh.
initiative. You had great intention. You're here. You're on screen. You're attending it. Great intention. Kadambari, are you making that connection now? Great intention, but no action. No initiative. So intention, yes, but no initiative. The moment, did you, by the way, what was your story, Kaddu? 2 weeks of sweets.
Not sweets. I'm in Bombay with my dad, so I had to do some things. Yeah, take care. So today also I was with him and with the doctor, so just came.
Right.
But yeah, the intent was in background and the initiative didn't take place.
Right.
I went on our folder. I checked about reading something, but didn't do as much as I wanted to.
Now you can differentiate it. Okay, great.
Vishwas,
Okay, so yeah.
if I may, sorry, I have a lot to ask, but can I pause you here and can I just ask you what you did just now? And I see that there is something that you did as a facilitator that made that transfer happen for me and for a lot of us. So my question here is, what did you do to make that transfer happen? Like you asked us, hey, what's wrong? The repair part happened, and then suddenly I was motivated and committed to reminding myself of the why, and there's something that you did. So is the responsibility with you as a facilitator, or is it with me as your participant, as your student?
I have a responsibility, but that responsibility is around calling your attention and awareness to it.
Okay.
And that's as far as it goes. Which is why I said, you can do it, you can not do it, you can decide what you want to do. Last time what I did was transfer responsibility, and I said, why don't we just finish this off in the next session and say you've got certificates.
Got it.
If you want transfer to happen, you've got to show me, you've got to experience the transfer. And I just set it up and you picked it up. And there's no way I can get you to do it.
Got it. Thank you.
And maybe
Thank you.
you don't want to, but it's, that's what I think that's what I did.
Got it. Thank you.
I've said this, even in my talk, I said facilitation can't be taught. So if you ask me a question that what did I just do? I have no idea. But if it worked, then great.
No, just by doing it,
Okay.
I think you're teaching us. So sometimes demonstration is also a great teaching tool, huh? So thank you for doing that.
Teaching us, teaching us. Who's us?
Me.
Thank you.
Vishwas, yeah. Can I go in? This No, this was my question too during session two. Like after the session, I had put a question in the group Slack group. Actually, this transfer, is it my inability as a facilitator to do, or is it the resistance from the participant? Actually, like because I experienced myself during session two. I didn't attend session one, and during session two, I got disconnected, and you were like, you have to read and come and like that. And I really got like kind of I didn't feel safe at that time, and I really got disconnected, and I was like, then
Why you
after
back?
what
Why are you back?
see, after that, actually, I did share that in the group, and then Monica connected to me individually. She did ask me like, if you want to help, like if you really need something, I'm happy to connect. And then we discussed in a group on Wednesday evening. Like, and after all those things, I started asking. I don't know. I started reflecting and questioning myself, and then I found that my value was being questioning, like, and suddenly after that moment, everything like became clear.
Hmm.
I really don't know what happened after that. So
Did I look like this? Was I scared?
second session for some time, you did look like that for me actually.
Or was I like this?
What?
Which of these describes what I was like in session two?
The first one, the previous one, like,
The previous one? This
yeah,
one?
yes,
Oh,
that
okay.
one.
And Monica, was this to you? Good. Welcome back. Yeah? Oh, the flower's still there. Damn. Okay. Right. I'm going to be
No.
like this today.
No, I want the answer. Like, is it if
Oh, sorry.
I'm
Was that a question?
yeah, the same question what she asked. Like, is it my inability to do it, or is it the other person's resistance towards it, towards the transfer? When something doesn't work,
Okay.
or should we not have?
In this context between you and me, was it my inability or your resistance
In my
or your
case, it
struggle? Let's just say.
yeah. In my case, in what I explained, it was my resistance towards it.
Did I do anything to add to it?
Now, if I'm doing it, how do I recognize it?
Are you blaming me for it?
No.
Sometimes we do, right? I don't understand it because my teacher is a nut. My teacher can't explain. Lousy teacher. I can put the blame outside me. It sounds like you're taking responsibility. You know you missed the first session. And of course, you're going to feel lost in the second one because we kind of moved a lot. Every session we move a lot. You miss one and you know.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
great. So we've talked about some of these things, and now I'm going to add to it, and I hope that some of it will help. And we are going to do small group work today. So let's just go do a little revising. We talked about this pre-training considerations. What are things that we need to be looking at? We said we need to know our group. So building a metaphor, if you want people to be able to transfer what is being covered in class into their lives or into their behaviors, we've got to know where they come from. We need to know a lot of information from them. And if we can't get it earlier, then we need to spend some time building it while we are in that conversation with them. Where are they from? Will new behaviors be acceptable? What's the need that's felt? Especially in counseling and therapy and so on, you'll very often have parents or guardians saying, hey, you know what, my son, my daughter, whoever, and can you just chat with them? Because according to the parent, those kids are being dysfunctional. And so often I've talked to those kids and I say, where's the dysfunction? The dysfunction is not in the kid, the dysfunction is in the parent, many often. And this is true with organizations as well. This bunch of people needs team building. Why? Because they heard somebody have conversations or two guys had a fight and hey, now they're dysfunctional. Did they do their job? Yes, they did. And whose need is it? Until, especially in this whole transfer piece, till that need is felt by the recipient, the student, whoever it might be, you're going to see resistance. I mean, what's the risk of some kid choosing to behave at home? Huh. So we always want to be thinking about what we can do before so that transfer is more effective or transfer is a clear possibility. Yeah? Okay. So remember we were on this journey? Yeah? Now we're going to kind of dive into that window and look at some of those passengers. We also want to be thinking about what they're thinking. We often don't give enough value to this. Sometimes, I've often felt that I'd like to spend 70% of my time on this because once you understood them, as an educator, you're in a much better position to be able to deliver something that's relevant to them. By the way, it's raining here, so apologies. So, can you hear it? So, all individuals within groups and groups even by themselves very often have questions. We don't necessarily ask them. We just make some assumptions that this team has come here for team building, therefore they know all about it. Oh, yeah, okay. Can you still hear me? Oh.
Yeah, we can.
So why am I here? What's the purpose of doing this? If it's getting really bad, then I'll put on headphones. I'm okay with that. Can you hear me?
There's a slight disturbance.
Can you hear me? Oh, without the rain?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. So just look at those questions because our audience has those questions.
Not very clear, Vishwas.
I think you're better without the headphone.
Is it better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, too loud.
Did the rain come inside?
It's too heavy.
What is heavy, the rain or me?
Rain.
Rain.
Both.
But we can hear you better now.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk less. Take a look at those questions. If you have questions around that, let me know. We don't have a.
So the last sentence is not very clear. Answers and information.
Hello? Can you hear? Can you guys hear
Yes.
this?
Yes, we
Is
can.
this better? Is this better than without the... Okay, cool. Okay, the last question. Okay. A lot of people, when they come on any course, and tell me if this is true with you, you wanted answers, or were you wanting information? Because so
Information.
often, which means that you can choose to do whatever you want with that information, right? But the moment you say answers, they're very specific to people, and Madhu may ask me a question, and Rekha may not want that answer, or it may not be relevant to her at all. That makes sense? I think some time ago I had conducted a session which we called ELI Quest, where we invited people and we said, hey, if you have questions, I don't normally give answers, but today I will. So if you want to send your questions across, send them across and let's chat about them. So we had a very interesting hour-long session. I don't know how long it was. But that was very clearly, I'm assuming you are practitioners, I'm assuming you have questions and you want some answers, and I'm willing to give them. Yeah? Okay. And people, your group, the children in your classroom, they have this too. So in physics and maths or biology or whatever, I mean, what is it? Is it information or is it answers? Currently, we just want answers, right? And they have to, and the answer has to be the right answer, done in a particular way, presented in a particular way. Any other clarification? So here are some things that we can do deliberately, intentionally, to help change whatever people want to about themselves. And this is before the experience. And this can be done in relationships at home as well, with your children, with whoever is at home that you have conversations with, you can do it. So, Okay, now you know what those steps mean. Now let's look at this. This is asking them that very specific question. The moment you ask that question, people become aware if they have an answer, and they may or they may not, but at least you put that question into their head, and that's the first step, that we're here for a reason. What drives your presence here today? That can lead to the get to and how to conversation of offering choices. Like, okay, so if you want to get there, how are we going to do it? Okay, so far? It's not enough just to ask that question. You need to define shared new purpose so it's stated. And why? Also, you want to consider, why is it you want to learn what you want to learn? How is it going to be relevant to your life? At that point, you're already beginning to get them to make those connections in their brains about whatever the topic is and their own lives. They're doing it. You may not know it, but they're doing it. So the building of norms, you build commitment. That's what we did last session, right? We needed to repair our raft. And we said we're going to repair the raft by putting greater intentionality into this. We've got only two sessions left, and how we're going to bring intentionality into this, otherwise it just, you know, river is going to take us away. So here's my question for real. How will you know whether you've learned something? This is a question to you guys.
If I'm able to apply it, practice it.
Okay, and how will you know? When will you know?
Only if I try it.
When will you try?
Next week.
What will you try?
Metaphoric transfer.
And what's the metaphor you're going to build for yourself?
That I have to think.
छोड़ेगा नहीं. Okay, so we don't know. So here's my question. In the 4 weeks that we've had since we started, and for those of you who did need to go, it's been that many more weeks. Where have you seen transfer happen for yourself? Look, I know some of you have journaled this and you know it, but I think at some point in time we need to be able to recognize when transfer is happening as well, then it becomes intentional. Otherwise we say, okay, we attended the course, jab hoga, tab hoga. Transfer will happen whenever it needs to.
So intention is critical. Your intention to transfer some of this stuff back into what you do is critical to whether it happens or not. Yeah? Okay. So when you are working with groups, this is what you could do. Yeah? Okay. It sounds like you look like you're very happy and you've understood this. Just know that you're going to put it into practice in the next 10 minutes. So pay attention. You can stop me whenever you want, okay? I'm just going to, this is some text. Oh, we are a headphone gang. Huh, look at that.
So this possible solutions is a bit confusing because before doing the task, we are asking them to think of possible solutions.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that wonderful?
Somehow for me,
Can
like
you think?
I think I
Go
have
on,
a
go on.
block. I have a block on this because I feel they have to go through it and then think of solutions. And
Will they not go through it even if you ask them this question?
yeah,
Will they be better off if they thought about it or worse off?
they will be better. They'll be conscious of what they're going to do. Yeah.
Then what's your good reason? Madhu, what you're saying is not odd. A lot of people say this, and they say, let them experience it. What you're essentially doing is going back to generation one of the 50s and saying, let the experience speak for itself. And then at the end of it, you cheatingly ask them questions, but they've not paid any attention to that. They paid attention to the activity, the experience. They were immersed in it. How is it fair to ask them all these intellectual questions if you didn't get them to use their intellect before? I mean, this is, sorry, Monica, this is a word I'm going to use. It's in Hindi. I don't know if there's a English translation, but there's this, in Hindi, they call it mardangi. If you face something like a share, like a lion, then you are a man. Otherwise, you're a what? And this is fathers talking about 1 and 2-year-olds. It's just awful what we put our children through. Let him suffer, then I will pull him out of the muck. Hey, what's the point here? Okay? Right. Now, here's your breakout room. So we can make choices, right? Okay. So how many of us? One, two, three, four, five. Are you joining the room? Yeah. So how many of us right now? 16? There's 16 of us minus me. You're going to go in, so that makes it 15. Would you rather have groups of 5 or 3? Groups of 3? Okay. My God, you go. Okay, great. Now, do you want random groups or would you like to work with specific people?
Random, I think, for me.
Random.
Why? Because that's more democratic. See how we make choices?
No, I think it's
Random. I
information
don't
or
care.
answer.
Okay, this is what I'm gonna. So here's my front load. Okay, what you're gonna do? I'm gonna give you 20 minutes. You are going to choose an age group. You're going to choose an objective, and you're going to do everything pre-course. You know what we just went through? Do everything you can. What is it that you would do to make transfer more effective in the context of whatever objectives you create for that group? What would you do? What are the different things you would do? Is the question clear? Yes, Monica.
We will be talking about the real life and work on the field, right? Not in a virtual space.
Yeah, let's do that. You can go up a mountain, you can get people to share tents, 5 in a tent, I don't care. COVID is absent. Okay? You can build any scenario. Your objective has to be absolutely clear. And you are going to explain to me, one person from your group is going to explain to me how what you are going to do is going to support transfer of that objective. Yeah? Great. 3 groups, random. I will drop in 20 minutes or whatever. Have fun.
Okay, I can go first. We were the breakout room number 1, Hiteshi and I. Okay. So we selected our age group is 15-year-old students who are in their 10th grade and are in a transition point to go to high school and junior college and college. So that's the age group that we have selected. Now, the main objective that we are looking for is self-awareness. Okay, and the reason behind self-awareness is basically we want them to make we thought about that they should be making responsible choices with their future. They should be thinking about their actions and choice and consequences and so on. And so under self-awareness, the life skill that we have chosen is asking for help and learning from mistakes. Should I go on?
Asking for help and?
Asking for help and learning from mistakes.
Okay, what are you going to do to make it transferable or enhance transfer?
Exactly. Okay. So now what we have come up with as a design is an 8-day hiking program, and which is going to be an off-trail navigation, which means they are basically unsupported and they're going to hike for 8 days straight with a map in their hand and not on the trails, but they have to basically look at the map and navigate their trails. own trades, form their own trades and go. Now, within that, the structure that we have decided is basically.
Wait, just quickly a reminder for me, what was the objective?
Self-awareness.
That's it? Self-awareness?
Yes, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, it's an 8-day off-trail navigation program. So what we have done is in this is basically the structure of the program is as it is 2 days of the facilitators leading the program, which is all the decision making and trail and everything.
Don't bother with the details. What are you going to do specifically to enable self-awareness?
Okay. Front loading, intervention, demonstrate, guided, and self-led.
Give me
These are
one,
the front load.
one question that you might ask them.
What is that one question?
Give me a couple of questions that you might ask them.
Okay, probably at the start of the program, we would be, because it's self-awareness, we also discussed about the fact that we may just directly ask them, what's the whole meaning of choice and consequences to them? What do they think about this? Like how does, or what is the effect of choice and consequences to them in their personal life?
Okay.
And you'd ask them to think about it, and that is one of the things that we thought about asking them. Then you want more questions?
Yeah, I'm not. So let's say I answer that question. Can I role play?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead. Ask me.
So the question would be, in the beginning, would be what beliefs and values you hold for mistakes and mistakes in general.
Which is the question you want me to answer?
Hiteshi's question.
That one.
Which
Yes.
one?
So what beliefs and values you hold about mistakes? So what do you think about mistakes?
Oh, which one do you want me to answer?
What do you think about mistakes?
Thank you. I think mistakes should be allowed.
That's great. And what happens when you make one?
Something I didn't want to see happens, I think.
What? Say that
Something
again.
I didn't want to see happens.
And then what would you do in that situation?
What would I do? I don't usually get a chance to do anything. Everybody else is doing something or the other to me.
So do you have any idea of what should be done in that situation?
Yeah.
What is it?
I should be allowed to deal with it the way I want.
And what is that way that you wanted to deal it with?
I should be, I mean, I would, let's say I do something and it doesn't quite work. I want to be able to do some more things to make it work.
Could you give an example of things? What more things can you do?
What context do you want me to give you an example in?
Can you think of any last mistake?
Yeah, I got 28% in biology.
28. Mm-hmm. So what could you do once you...
Careful. You're just falling into my trap, sweetie.
I know.
You're making me talk about the thing. Where is your self-awareness question?
Ram?
Okay, why do you think you got 28%? Why do you think you got 28%?
I think that's still part of the trap.
You
Part of the trap?
You wanted to make it easy
or is it a mistake that you got 28%? Do you think it's a mistake that you got 28%? And why do you think so?
Yeah, I think it's a mistake because I think I got more. I got 35 or something.
What? No, that's cheating.
You said 28 and now you're saying 35. So can you say 150?
Yeah, I mean,
Different kid.
that's a mistake,
Kid,
right?
you need to think about it. Different
Huh?
one. Different child.
Different child. Okay. Okay. What's the question? Ask me again. Different child. Different child.
Oh gosh. Okay,
Anyway.
Hiteshi, round again, round 2.
Okay. So what's the trap here? Now, the rest of you focus because you want to learn something from this that you can transfer immediately into the way you conduct the role play with me, okay? What happened?
Well, one thing that did happen was I wasn't ready with questions. So I if I would have thought about them in that given
And
time,
even
I
when
would
you're
have.
ready, even when you're ready,
Yeah.
you can't refer to your booklet of questions.
That's
You have
true.
to ask that question then and there.
That's true.
And so, what trail were you following?
I was following the mistakes trail and what consequences can they hold
What
you. Like,
would be a wonderful starting question about mistakes?
well, do you like me making mistakes? I don't know.
What's the assumption you're making in that question?
That it's a mistake.
What else?
That they have you ever made a mistake?
Yeah, I have.
Well, what do you
Are
count
mistakes
as
a bad thing? Are mistakes a bad thing?
How about this? What do you count as a mistake? What do you categorize as a mistake?
See, you'll come to it. You just have to bang your head a few times. Your entire thing was based on an assumption that your idea of what a mistake is and my idea is the same. You didn't ask me that question. If you'd asked me that question, then you're in a better position to follow that trail. Because that question in itself is a self-awareness question. Because how many of us ask each other, what do you call a mistake? We tell our children, you made a mistake. What the hell do we know? That means you did it wrong. Essentially, it means that. And that's the assumption you made, and that's the trap you fell into. Okay, next. Who's in line next?
Me, Kadambari, and Madhavi.
Yeah, man, bring it on. Who am I?
Kadambari, do you want to?
No, you go.
Okay, so we have kids from the age group from 15 to 20, and we are in a scenario where they are going through that notion that only e-learning is the solution of learning, and they want their mobile phones all the time with internet, their personal mobile phones, and
Right.
through which only they can do learning.
Okay.
And because they have a sharing phone in the family or internet,
हाँ,
they
वो
are
कहानी है मैडम, रेसी मैडम, objective क्या है?
yeah. So they are being they have not come themselves. They are being sent back to school. This is where they come from. And so we are going to do a day hike. And the skill which we want to transfer is earlier we thought resilience, but then we changed it to being adaptive. Little change. So we're transferring the specific skill being adaptive. So in the day hike, we are front loading them. Short, simple, sharp, and sweet. So we are front loading them. That the shoes are their device.
I'm your 15-year-old. Get on with it.
Yeah. So shoes are your device.
Get on with it.
Which you're learning. And today we are taking your device.
Hello?
Imagine shoes
you're
are
front loading. Oh, are you front loading?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know when it had begun. Start again.
Okay, so I'm front loading and I'm telling you that we are going for a day hike and we are assuming that shoes are your, sorry?
Yay!
And so this path is your learning path, and your shoes are your device for learning. We are taking that device, and you have to complete this trail with alternatives.
What? Barefoot?
It's up to you. You can go barefoot or any, no, sorry, enough. Yeah, you have to find an alternative.
Ah, okay. Okay. So I found, a lot of trails have thrown away chappals and shoes, right? So I found one chappal and one shoe.
Yeah, but whatever, you have to find an alternative.
I found.
Okay, then we meet you at the top.
I see. Oh, you're going to leave me and go?
We are going together, you with your alternatives, and we're gonna go together at the top. We're gonna talk
Okay.
about it at the top.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I please get my shoes back?
Yeah, so then you are choosing to giving up.
Are you telling me or are you asking me?
I'm telling you.
I haven't given up. I'm just asking for my shoes.
So you want your device back.
Yeah.
When the challenge is that you have to go without your device in the path of learning.
Yeah, but it's too hard.
Okay, take your shoes.
Khatam?
Yeah.
Story khatam?
Yeah, you can take your shoes.
Okay. Okay, good. Now what?
Now others who wants to take the used alternative, then together we'll go on the talk and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
How they felt about it.
I reached the top with
Okay.
palm leaves on my soles. क्या हुई?
How was the trek?
Hello, why are you abandoning her? Poor thing. Who are
We're
you
not abandoning
crime?
her.
Yeah.
How was the trek?
You can talk as a keep your camera on, but you can talk with us.
Huh?
How was the trek?
It was hard.
So
My
you
toes are hurting.
chose to take the alternative, right? You didn't come in your shoes, so you have taken that.
Yeah, but I mean, I chose it because I didn't have a choice.
No, I gave you the choice. I told you you can have your shoes back.
Yeah, okay, actually, you're right. Yes, I made the choice.
How do you feel after that?
I don't know. I think I'm going to make a pair.
You want to?
I'm going to make a pair of shoes from palm leaves.
Great. What else?
What else? Oh, and I may not choose to climb a mountain, but I could walk around the streets because I think that'll be easier.
So so what, then what? After that, now what?
Your friends have abandoned you, haven't they?
No, we're not abandoned. No, she's going.
So I have a question
She's
here.
fine, Vishwas.
Could be, wait. It's their.
Okay.
We're not abandoned, Ray. She's going for it. You said you want to
What
choose
was your
a-
objective?
What was your objective?
Being adaptive.
So how would you find an alternative without a mobile?
Put your mic off.
She is on
Put your
it.
mic off. This mic can pick it up. Huh.
So what's your...
So how would you find an alternative to your mobile phone?
What has mobile phone got to do with this?
Build a context. The shoes are the
I told you the first
That
story.
was 1 year
Vishnu.
ago. That was 1 year ago.
So after that, kids want their personal mobile because they think the learning can only happen through mobile. So the thing
I
here
mean,
is
that's your idea, man.
no, the school send the kids are the parents are complaining that kids
School's
want this.
objective. School's objective. What is your objective?
That I want. So the objective is that they want them to understand.
How long have we taken to go from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain?
3 hours.
3 hours.
tell me.
And you want me to remember your mobile phone story on top of the mountain?
Yeah, it was effective. It is your device. I've taken your device. I love the story.
No, what has a device got to do with no shoes? I mean, and palm leaves and climbing a mountain.
It's a metaphor, Vishwas.
What is that? What is a metaphor? Why are you using big words, Ma?
It's isomorph, very close, you know.
Monica, it's okay. You can laugh. You don't have to put your camera off.
It's a isomorph metaphor, you know, the feeling of taken away from mobile phone,
What are
the
you talking
pain, the
about?
agony.
Okay.
Chappals and
So,
shoes. And
okay, so this is a group of 15 to 18 who
Okay,
are
wait,
from a
stop.
sect. Okay.
Acha, now we've got a rescuer coming in, kya?
Oh, I didn't
bolo.
rescue you again and again. Question you abandoned him, abandoned her.
हाँ,
You
तो
not
बोलो.
abandoned her. So she was on the right track, looking at her.
What is
So
right track?
building. Oh God. Okay, you opened your scalpel. That's stuck. Did I freeze or he's frozen? I don't know.
I guess he's frozen.
Yes, he is frozen.
Okay.
Ah,
I think it's
sorry, I missed you. Yes, madam. Kadambari, please come for rescue.
No, I'm not rescuing. She's going ahead. She said
Can I
it's
tell
a
you my
metaphor.
experience?
Yeah.
Can I? Okay, here's my experience. You took me to the bottom of a mountain, took away my shoes and said, reach the top of the mountain. Okay? I reached the top of the mountain. Now what?
Now you are feeling good that you can do it without shoes as well.
Where does the shoes come into any conversation, madam?
Because
Where are your questions to create awareness about what you want me to pay attention to?
Okay.
This is practice of E to go deep, see, creep, I don't know, any other EAP that exists. You can't just make some assumptions and I've reached the top of the mountain. What are you going to say to me?
Not ready with the questions.
Nobody? Now you see why I said I don't know how to teach processing. Lacey, you were there on the talk. You know, I said it. I don't know how to teach processing. How am I going to teach you this?
here I cannot
What
understand.
assumptions have you made on top of the mountain?
Assumptions I've made that those kids cannot live without their cell phones.
Good. What else?
I have made the assumption that if I will tell them to that shoes is the device, and if they will go without the shoes, suddenly they will have a euphoric thing that, oh wow, we can do without.
And that was at the bottom of the mountain. You told me the story about shoes and gadgets, right? Now we're at the top of the mountain, 3 hours of a climb. Can you imagine what a different place I'm at? And how are you going to bring about that connection? Okay, I'm going to try it. I'm just going to say it as it comes into my head. I ask you, how did you reach the top?
With palm leaves on my foot.
How did you manage that? Where did you get the idea?
I saw the leaves and it came into my mind that I can use them. They will save me.
Could you use palm leaves on the street? To walk?
Yep. She's got stuck, I guess.
What? Somebody answer. Racy is not the only one in this.
Yeah.
You see how I'm slowly going with the question? I'm going to make the connection. So,
It won't work there.
how did you come up with the idea of a palm leaf? Did they
Because
work?
they were there.
Did they work? Was
She
it
had seen it
difficult?
somewhere else.
Probably. What
Somewhere
were you
else.
dependent on before?
Shoes.
Shoes.
Good. What else are you dependent on in your life?
Anything.
Gadgets.
Gadgets.
Now I bring in the gadget. The scaffolding piece, regardless of whether you're working with children or adults, is an integral part of what we do. Don't make any assumptions that people remember or have understood. Okay, next. Anybody? We make it shorter and sharper now. Yes, Surbi.
So Madhu, Monica, and I were part of this group. Our age group is teenagers again. And the specific objective of our learning session was, by the end of this session, our participants will be able to learn how to listen deeply. So deep listening, that was the specific objective. And our understanding of the task that we were given is, what will we do before the program that will make the transfer happen? So our conversation was around that. So a couple of action items that we came up with was, one, we will prepare specific questions for our client, our sponsor, who's asking us to do this. So specific questions that will give us the answers on why the need, what's exactly the need, blah, blah, blah. Second, in the ideal world, we would push for an authentic conversation with our participants.
Go on,
So
waiting.
I'm sorry?
Waiting. I'm your authentic participant.
Okay, all right. So here is what we decided. We will ask, so you're my participant and I am sitting with you. I say, hey Vishwas, how are you? What's up?
Yeah.
Hey.
Life's great.
Cool. Good to know you're doing good, Vishwas. So Vishwas, you know that we are going to meet soon on Monday for this program. And I had a couple of questions for you, and let's begin. So Vishwas, tell me, what do you think is good listening?
Sitting quietly.
Interesting. Do you do that often?
Do I do it? Yeah, sometimes.
Wow. What are those sometimes for you? When do you actually get to do that?
When I'm interested.
Wow. All right. And have you felt when you do that, the chat or that convo is do you enjoy that convo? Is it better than other convos wherein you're not sitting quietly and listening? So do you enjoy that conversation or?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Thank you for sharing that, Vishwas. I'm interested to know more. So tell me about the school. What's your gang like? What are your friends like? Do you get opportunities to sit and talk to each other during breaks, during the classes?
Which of these questions do you want me to answer?
Sorry. That's just nervousness. Okay, so tell me, Vishwas, Vishwas, how often do you get this opportunity to listen to your friends at
Hardly,
school?
hardly.
All right, interesting. Great. All right. So if I may, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes now.
No, you can do whatever you want. Don't try.
All right.
It's a
Blah
role
blah
you
blah blah blah
can
blah.
understand this.
Yeah,
You
I'm
want to
trying
learn
to.
from this.
Yes. So I'm
I'm
trying
a horrible client. I'm a horrible teenager. I'm going to
Okay.
respond as genuinely as possible. You will bumble along. That's
All
fine.
right.
Don't see
All
it as a wrong. You know that whole mistakes conversation?
Yeah.
This is how we do it.
Yeah. All right. So okay, a lot you've shared a lot, blah blah blah, fill in the blanks. So I'll come to the next question and I'll ask. So Vishwas, I'm sure you observe your friends around and you've interestingly shared a lot of experiences from your conversations. Tell me what happens if people are not able to listen properly in conversations.
I don't know about people.
What about you?
Why don't you ask me that question first? What happens to me when I don't listen? Is that
When you felt somebody has not listened to you.
Oh, when somebody has not listened to me.
Yeah.
I get really irritated.
Okay. So, do you find this interesting? This topic? Would you like to explore
if you
this
keep
further?
talking about it, then it's not going to be interesting.
What if we make it an experience for you? What if we put
I'm
you into
waiting.
Wow. All right. Great. So Vishwas, this is the first act. I want to quickly share what else Madhu and Monica and I decided. That was the first part, that we get to authentically talk to our learners. The second part is we also want to make sure other things are at play. So one, if we get to talk our design, our content should be highly contextual. We should be able to speak that lingo, that blah, blah, blah. Second, our sponsors, whoever is championing this initiative, we will make sure we also engage with them authentically and say, hey, this is a great goal to have, but we want these things. So we want conducive environment and all of that. And I'm done. I'm sorry. Did I ramble?
So question, do you know what deep listening is?
Yes.
What?
So in my understanding, deep listening is when I'm completely present in the moment and able to hear what the person is saying and not saying. So listening to the words and the emotions as well.
Which part of our exercise invited me to consider? So I heard you say two critical things. One is that deep listening is listening to the words and listening to the emotions.
Yeah.
Right? Which part of our conversation took us there?
Some of them. So a couple of,
What?
Manjula, you want to help me out here?
The question what Madhu asked, like what makes you feel when someone is not listening to you?
Yeah.
You told irritating. I get irritated. That is like, we can start from that. I think can continue from that. Okay, what can you make?
Okay, here's the thing.
Yes.
I don't think the conversation went there at all.
Okay.
And sometimes we've got to get there. You see, when I heard you say in your conversations earlier, when I kind of sneaked into your breakout room, and I heard you ask you, I said, what's your objective? You said, deep listening. And I said, oh, deep listening. Ooh, what's deep listening?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you could have, through that process of asking those questions, come to that place of deep listening being words and emotions?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yes, no, maybe?
Yes, yes, of course, yes.
What would be the simplest question?
What do you know about deep listening?
Or
Zero.
how are you feeling today?
How do you feel when
Brilliant.
someone listens to you?
Say that again, Monica.
How do you feel when someone listens to what you're saying?
Oh, I feel really good.
I think if we
Okay, here's the
ask
thing. Here's the thing. At its simplest. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you sense what I'm feeling?
A little bit.
What, which words describe what you think I'm feeling? Listen to that silence. I've already got you.
Yeah,
I'm getting you to think about.
yeah,
Now suddenly your heightened senses are sensing.
yeah,
You're not caught in that trap of words anymore. You've already made it experiential.
yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Are you getting, so
Yes.
when we are looking at transfer, we're looking at not just creating that quick experience for us audiences, we're also taking it further to how they're going to transfer it. And a classic transfer of something like that might be when you go home today, before you say anything to anyone, walk into the room and whoever you meet first, try and sense what emotion they're feeling. And tell me tomorrow.
So Vishwas, what I've understood is right now you are in that session, making that transfer happen for me. But so what I was expressing was before the session when I'm just trying to understand how much Vishwas knows about deep listening.
Zero.
Okay. But is
You
that
asked
not
me
an
a question.
assumption? Is that
Huh?
not an assumption?
No, you asked me that question, I said zero. But
So do I
the
need
other
to?
question, the other questions were good. What do you know about listening? How do you know somebody is listening to you? All that was really good. It took me to that place. At some point in time, which is why I asked you, I said, deep listening, what does that mean to you? The moment you said it's not just words, it's also sensing emotions.
Yeah.
Then you can create simple, you could do any kind of role play, stop it in the middle and say, what is that character feeling?
What's the purpose of that role play? Am I trying to understand Vishwas's awareness of the topic before I get into the session? Or are we already in the session?
Create awareness that there is an emotion attached to all conversations.
Okay, 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 got it.
There are no conversations in which emotions are not attached.
Right, right.
Even when we go and ask for kaddu in a vegetable shop.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Got it.
Okay, great. I think it's time. How's it gone so far today? What was nice about it? Oh, sorry, Kadambari, I'm asking you, not everybody said nice. Some of them are so quiet. So I'm sure they have other things. What does that mean? That's a dear, non-violent.
Demonstrations. They work well with me. It
Okay.
just goes faster with me. So I'm yeah, I crossed that intent to initiative piece already, and the isomorphic frames, it's sunk in more. The
Little better?
questioning technique, the funneling technique came alive for me when you were asking, when you were doing the role plays.
Okay. Anybody else? How did it go for you? I mean, I'm just exploring whether this is a way of learning transfer, because God knows there's so much gyan around it.
What I
Yeah,
really
because now we
like,
can copy you. Because everybody's
Sorry?
asking, now we can copy.
Ah, right, right.
Everybody's asking, how do you do it? So when you do role plays, when you actually show it, it's easier for us, for me to understand.
Okay, so here's your homework. Madhvi, just type it off there only, now only. Uh, make comfort groups, whoever you want to work with. You are going to, if demonstration is what you want, and if that helps, choose what you want me to demonstrate and create a scenario. And this time, you will be the audience, and you can be mean if you want. You will be the audience, and I will be the facilitator. Do you think that might work, or just
Yeah.
remember, this is like showcasing something. I've already expressed my relationship with showcasing something in that talk that I gave. That I learn a lot, and I don't know if others do. So let's try it and see if it works in this format. Is that fair? So I think with some content, which I will then connect to these three scenarios that you bring up, I should be able to connect what I did with. I don't know if I will be able to, okay, I have no idea. But I will do something instinctively, and hopefully it will connect to the content. Or I will justify my case anyway. Is that okay? Does that work? So you will make your own groups. You will have a midweek conversation. You will send me those scenarios, and then you will bring it alive. Yes?
So when you say bring it alive, will we be part of that scenario? Will we be enacting? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to do the role
like we were
play.
doing today.
Okay.
But I was being the evil one.
Okay.
That's what you thought. And you can be nice to me. You don't have to role model my evilness.
Sure.
Yeah. So we'll put it up in the journal thing straight away. You guys get into your own groups and have your conversations. Yeah. Any of this you found kind of crazy, mad, didn't understand? What the hell are you talking about? Any part of it? Is this making sense? Not making sense? Where are you with it?
It's making sense.
Making sense.
I just
Yeah,
felt that everything is part of transfer. Like we were thinking of the pre-work is also part of transfer. Like we were thinking it as a prep thing. We didn't realize that that's an opportunity to make a transfer happen. So that was like a hard thing for me.
Yeah.
When I thought
Same here. Same here. I think I echo what Madhu is saying. We didn't realize that that was also an opportunity. So yeah.
So this is what I will do. The presentation that I was supposed to continue with today, I will make the whole thing available to you. So it's broken up into three pieces. Stuff we've covered, what you can do before, stuff that you do while the experience is going on, and stuff you can do afterwards. Okay? We'll make the entire thing available to you as a PDF file like we usually do, and you can come armed with that. You can manage also. Anything else? Now, here's the challenge. See if you, now that you've read that article by Mike Gass, far transfer, near transfer, all that stuff, different types of transfer, choose scenarios in which are kind of different. So 3 groups are going to have to connive to arrive at 3 different situations that I can try and facilitate. So just don't make them similar. I mean, don't discover on that day that they're similar. Yeah? Cool. It's still raining in Pune. I hope you are staying safe. Anything else anybody wants to ask or say before we close? All right, sleep well. Ta-da!
Thank
See you
you.
next week.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.